So, good morning, everyone. I am Coach Williams, Cassandra Williams of Cassandra Williams Enterprise, and I am your victory coach and the founder of Wise Wives Build. And happy Friday to everyone. I wanted to come out here very briefly today to talk to you guys from the subject of women's empowerment. I had a very interesting conversation over the weekend with a gentleman. I was at an event and I was promoting a the Great Exchange and Women's Empowerment Weekend that I'm having in October. And the conversation went something like, I don't know if I want to send my wife to you. And I was like, but why? And he was like, I don't know what I'm going to get back. And so it made me kind of think, because I told him, I said, no, I send them back better than they came. We bring some balance to some things. But what it let me know was that women's empowerment. Good morning, Megan. Good morning. I'm on a steroid. Good morning, Sting Magnoling. Good morning to you all. It let me know that women's empowerment, just empowerment in general, has gotten a bad rap, right? Because he felt like if his wife became empowered, that she would try to control him, that she would start operating outside of the confines of, the way we're supposed to be operating, if you will. And so I wanted to come out here and to bring some context to this word called empowerment, because empowerment is not a bad thing. It's really a good thing, right? I have a group called Wise Wives Build, where we equip, we empower, we encourage women to take their rightful place, right? And what does that mean? Take their rightful place as a helper to the men that they are called to stand and walk alongside, okay? But what I found is a lot of us, we are not very men are not confident in their role. Women, and I didn't say place, I said role. Okay, we're not confident in the roles that we've been called to walk in. And so guess what, now we're fighting, we're in contention with one another, because now the woman wants to lead, the man doesn't want to lead, the man wants to be kept, the woman, it's all messed up, right? And so what we do with women empowerment is, empowerment simply means this right here: the act or action of empowering someone or something, the granting of the power, right, or authority to perform various acts or duties, right? So, I'll simply put, women's empowerment means that we are empowering you to do the things that you're supposed to do. That's simple, right? We are empowering you to be the best mom that you can be. We are empowering you to be the best wife that you can be. We're empowering you to be the best woman that you can be. Because some of us, sometimes, we have found ourselves operating not in from an authentic place. We are operating from the place of the people that we created, who we made ourselves out to be, right? So what do you mean, coach? Okay. If you had some kind of trauma, or okay, we won't make it trauma, we won't make it, we're gonna keep it light today, okay? But say you had a death in the family, right? For me, I had a very good friend of mine that passed away when I was very, very young, okay? And so one day we were playing, the next, within like an hour or two, she was no longer here. Okay. Good morning, Dr. Risha. And so she was no longer here. And so that was a place for me. Okay. And so, with that being a place for me, I learned to compartmentalize, meaning I learned to push down my emotions and my feelings. I didn't want to deal with that. So I learned to put that in the back of my mind. Right. So, in me putting that in the back of my mind, it taught me, when you don't want to deal with something, what do? You push it to the side. So when I get married, when I go, I grow up, I evolve, but that's still my go-to. Okay, that I don't deal with certain things, right? Until you have to. Because eventually, all that stuff you swept under the rug, you're gonna begin to trip over it. Good morning, Abigail. Thanks for coming in. Eventually, you're gonna trip over it, right? Because it's under the rug and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Or all the things that you trap, pushed into the closet and closed the door, eventually all that stuff is going to start falling out of the closet. Okay. So what we do is we empower you. Good morning, Valerie. We empower you to deal with those things because it takes a strength, right? It says empowerment is a strength that is given to us, right? It's a granting of power, right, or authority to perform various acts or duties. Where in one season of your life, you felt like I couldn't deal with it, I can't talk about it, I can't do these things. Now you're being empowered, right, to do these things. So Malcolm X says the cure for poverty was empowerment, training residents of poor neighborhoods to organize themselves and learn to get things from the power structure, meaning they learned that, listen, the cure for poverty, and still to this day, is empowerment, teaching people how to own their own businesses, teaching them how to make their own money, right? That's empowerment. It's not a bad thing. And so in what I do is I empower wives to take their rightful place, to be able to stand in the place that God has called them to stand in as a partnership, partnering with their husbands, right? So if you got to hold them down, right? If you got to build them up, build them up. We have roles, men, and listen, ladies, don't jump off. Don't jump off. Now I do hold you accountable. I do. But men have a role to play as well. But if we're trying to sit in that seat and we don't give them the opportunity to do what they need to do, then guess what? We're still wrong, right? Because we can does not mean always mean we should, right? So there is a purpose and a plan for that person that is in your life as well. But if we don't understand our roles, if we don't understand who we are, right? Gone are the days. Listen, let me slow down. Gone are the days where we try to have two broken people coming together trying to make a whole thing. Or now you got a healed whole wife, a broken husband. You got a healed whole husband and a broken wife. So listen, all them jagged edges, somebody gonna get hurt. There's gonna be some pain in there somewhere, right? Because these two things are trying to become one, and if they ain't been made smooth yet, if there's not some compromise in there, if there's not some communication, if there's not some submission in there, listen, I know we get caught up in why submit to your husband as unto the Lord. Okay. Don't forget the last part, as unto the Lord. And husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church and was willing to give his life for her. Okay. So nobody's getting away with murder. Okay. Nobody is. And so when we start talking about this thing of empowerment, I read this and it really spoke to me. It says, empowerment is a gift from God, an invitation to live a life that reflects his power, his purpose, and his love. The Bible teaches us that the true empowerment comes from deep, intimate relationships with our Creator. True empowerment comes from deep, intimate relationship with our Creator. Because it's through him that we live, we breathe, and we have our being, right? Through him. And he empowers us. Philippians 4:13 says this: I can do all things through what? Through Christ who strengthens me, right? We can do what we do through Christ. You listen, I can't be a wife without him. I can't be a mom without him. I can't be a good daughter without him. I can't be a godly woman without him. I need him to do all of these things so that I can exhibit godly character, right character. Because listen, my grace run out. I'm just going to be honest. Okay. I know we're not supposed to say that, but my grace, Cassandra, the human person, my grace will run out long before God's will. And so God have to tap me on the shoulder sometimes and say, ma'am, no, don't do that. No, ma'am. No, we're not done yet, ma'am. I need you to tap back in. I tapped out, Valerie, I tapped out. Abigail, I tapped out. And he was like, no, ma'am, I need you to tap back in. Come on back in. We are not done, right? Good morning, Ann. Thanks for being here. And so when we are empowered to be who we are, right? We need to be empowered to be who we are, because that means the authentic version of yourself, because certain people and certain things are only going to respond to the authentic version of you, not the one we created to protect ourselves, right? Because now you're trying to ask people to accept if the fake version, the facade version of you. And that's not fair. Because when the real you shows up, they don't know what to do with her. So we can't continue to flow in that space and in that place, right? So we have to let the authentic version of us. Acts 1:8 says this, but you will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you will be my witnesses in all Judea, Samaria, and to the end of the earth, right? That's how we're able to do. That's true empowerment. He says, when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, you shall be able to do these things, right? That he had talked to us about. Deuteronomy 8:18 says this, but remember, it is the Lord your God who gives you the power, the strength, the ability to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which he swore to your fathers. So, see, empowerment is not a bad thing. It's what we do with that empowerment sometimes that's bad. It's how we respond to being empowered. Now, if you use your empowerment, if God empowers you to do a certain thing, right? Like you may be empowered to be CEO, right? Um, at a company, on your job. But when you come home, you're not the CEO and the boss of your spouse. No, you're a husband, you're a wife. You don't get to lord over, control them. You don't get to tell them what to do like you do, like they're an employee. That's not right, y'all. So we're not empowered to do that. We're not empowered to usurp authority, but we are empowered to move. We are empowered to make decisions. We are empowered to speak and to be heard. You have opinions, right? And so when we talk about women's empowerment, I this is when I started Wise Wives Build, this is one of the things God told me. He said, if we never understand our rightful place, right? If we never understand why we were created and what we were created to do, we would never allow men to come back into their rightful place, right? Because a lot of times we say, hey, we want a man to do this, and this. But here's the thing, if they really started doing that, would we be ready to receive it? It's a fair question. All the things that you put before God, that you've been praying for, that you've been asking for, are you truly prepared to receive it? You have to really ask yourself those questions, right? And so what we do is at the Great Exchange is we come together and we give women a safe space to have these types of conversations. Whether you're happily married, whether it's complicated, whether you're single but you've been called to be a wife, we all come in, and it's going to be a women's empowerment weekend. We're going to pour into each other. You may be like, listen, I am suffering from battle fatigue. I'm tired. I know, I'm sorry. No, we're not tired. We tired. There's a level of fatigue that comes after tired. I know how you correctly supposed to say it. We're tired. No, I'm tired. We're frustrated. We're over it. We're like, okay, something's got to give. Something's got to change, right? I need you to come and meet me in the Atlanta area for the Great Exchange, a women's empowerment weekend, where I have gathered all a group of women to come together, and we're going to pour. We're coming to pour into women because God told me this. He said, with everything, and I don't bring doom and gloom, I bring hope and strategy, okay? That there are some things that are coming. There's some transitions that are taking place, but you have to be prepared. God gives direction, He gives strategy if you're listening, and that He's trying to prepare us so that we don't get caught up in the wash. And He said, don't let your family be a casualty of war. That those were his instructions. Don't let your family be a casualty of war, because you will be fortifying your business. You will be trying to maintain your income. You'll do everything for all of those things, but then you will start internally fighting one another. You'll start turning on your children. You'll get very, because you're not prepared. Because you did not prepare your family life, your home life, for what is to come. So we are empowering women to stand in the gap. We're empowering women to stand as the watchman on the wall. We're empowering women to know how to pray. We're empowering women to stand guard where we need to do what we're supposed to do. Okay. What everybody else is doing has nothing to do with us, but we want to be in our rightful place doing everything that God has called us to do, right? Because Wise Wives Build, the Great Exchange, is based on biblical principles. Okay. We are based on biblical principles. You're going to get the word, but it's very practical, it's applicable. Everybody will leave with a plan. You will leave with a plan of what God is telling you to do for this next season of your life. You won't leave with question marks. You won't leave in the dark. We're going to have time for girl talk. We're going to have time where you can actually ask the speakers questions. I don't want you to think conference, okay? Don't think conference. I want you to think retreat, a place of rejuvenation, a place of restoration, a place of revitalization. Okay. So if that is what you're looking for, if that is what you're like, yes, I need that in my life, right? Then I want you to join, go over to www.thecassandrawilliams.com and click on the link for the Great Exchange, and you will see all the information for the Women's Empowerment Weekend. We're going to have a catered lunch. We're going to do all the things. Once you get to the hotel, will be responsible for your food on Friday night. Saturday, we'll have snacks and things like that for you. We will have a full catered lunch, and then you'll be responsible for your dinner. We'll be in the Peachtree Corners area at the Hilton Northeast Atlanta Hotel. Um, and so hotel information is there. So go there for all the information. If you have any questions, you can email me at info@thecassandrawilliams.com as well. But I want you guys to have an amazing, amazing rest of your weekend. But I wanted to hop out here really quick to just give you a few tips and things like that concerning women's empowerment. It really is not a bad thing. It's really a good thing. We are empowering women to stand in their rightful place by these men of God, by their families, the way that God has ordained us to do, right? We don't have to take on more than we're supposed to. We don't have to do any of those things, okay? Everybody has a role to play. It's time to play your role. Notice I didn't say stay in your place, because that ain't what we do. We have a role. Know your role that you play. On a team, everybody has a space. Everybody has a place. Everybody has something that they are called to do. The coach doesn't get to go play in the game. The power forward doesn't get to be the point guard. The custodian doesn't get to do what the trainer does. Everybody has their role. And when everybody is performing at optimum capacity, doing what they're supposed to be doing, then guess what? Things move smoothly. Families are united. Everybody had their role. I'm not setting us back years, ladies. I'm not, that's not what I'm doing. But I am saying that we have to understand our purpose, our place in this thing called life. All right. So have an amazing weekend, everybody. I will talk to you later. Thank you so much for being here over here on Instagram. Let me get you guys. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Thank you guys over here on Facebook and on YouTube. I will talk to you guys later. Be blessed, everyone. Bye bye.